Sleepyheads! Hi! Fun fact, did you know that Heb's favorite band is Stained? Yeah, Stained. Find all the content you can and send it to him. He'd really appreciate it. But like Stained, it's been a while. Anywho, sorry. Terrible joke setup. Equally as bad of an impression, but, sorry, not sorry. Anyway, new episode this week. We're going to start discussing Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, a new show on Netflix called Jupiter's Legacy, and episodes 4 and 5 of The Nevers on HBO Max. So I hope you enjoy.
Cool. Welcome to another episode of Bed by Nine.
Hello.
I am your host.
Have.
There you have it. And here is my co-host, Nipples.
Ow. Hi.
Guys, I'm very excited for this week. Keith, are you excited for this week?
Yeah.
We can see you're excited. That is for sure.
We're hard.
How was your week, brother?
Busy. I launched my project, the company that I was hired to do.
What company was that?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
It's
What industry?
legal and the defense contracts, so I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. The defensive. So your project?
Defense. Yeah, I launched it.
Okay.
Had a schedule, and we have our. We'll see how it goes. I think
So much detail, guys.
Well, I'm not.
I know.
If I
know,
expose
I know,
things, I can't.
I know. I'm kidding. Jeez. Outside of work,
What I do?
you got drunk.
Well, yesterday.
Hey.
It was the only time I drank all week.
Same.
It marks tomorrow will mark a month of veganism.
And let me say, it looks great on you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, what's the next goal with this veganism?
I mean,
thing?
I'm gonna continue doing it. I don't feel like I'm missing anything at this point,
Okay.
but
Are you
I
gonna be
will
as
say-
strict?
No, I feel like if we go out to a restaurant and there is something on the menu that sounds appetizing and it has meat or cheese or whatever, I will probably partake. Yes.
Twins,
Tinkle.
bitch.
But I'm going to continue doing the meal service that I have, so that would
Fair.
be 6 days out of the week that I wouldn't be
Okay.
eating it, and the food is really good, and I don't have to cook it,
Hey.
and so
I mean, you got.
I can't complain
You got to nuke it, but yeah, it's still.
or pan heat or oven. Some of them call for those instructions.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because I saw that potato salad. Let me tell you, white people don't know how to make potato salad.
Well, white people don't know how to do a lot of things.
I agree. You hear
Doesn't
from
stop us from trying and telling you that you're wrong. So
Facts.
that's our culture.
Big.
How was your week?
It was great, and you know why it was great?
No.
J. Cole dropped new music.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I am so happy.
Can I tell you my favorite part about J. Cole dropping new music?
Go ahead.
He referenced Danity Kane. And,
In what song?
huh?
In
It
which song?
was, fuck. I can tell you if I just pull up the album.
Was it the
Punch
credits?
in the Clock.
Was it the credits? Because it's the end.
No. I don't get
Because
it.
Danny Kane is over.
They keep resurfacing. They're like HPV. It just kind of finds its way back.
Shout out Danny Kane, always coming back.
Anyways.
Like my ex.
You know that. I love them, and I was just really happy that that happened. I paused it and started the song over when I first listened to it. I was like, did he really say that? Luckily, the song was only like a minute and a half, so that's about my attention span.
And then, well, it's a big moment for me because I miss J. Cole, and
Yeah.
it's a big moment for you because you don't like rap. So we both bonded on this album. We didn't bond. We both came together and we listened to the album.
No, yeah, we circle jerked together while I was playing.
Definitely didn't do that.
Who was that? Well, I have some inner reflection.
Yeah, you do.
To be doing.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I'm overall very, very happy. It bodes very well. Outside of New Music Friday, I didn't listen to anything else coming out, but you did.
Yeah.
Do you have any other reviews on anything else that came out on New Music Friday?
Nikki put "Beam Me Up, Scotty" mixtape on streaming, which was very exciting because
Is
that's
that old?
Yeah, that was like her mixtapes before she was. I think it was right when she maybe got signed to Young Money, but it was before Pink Friday, her first official album.
So she was still rapping back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like, so she released that whole mixtape that she did with DJ Envy, and then she did 3 new songs that she put new with the mixtape that she released on there.
Okay.
One was with Wayne and Drake.
I saw that.
Seeing Green, which was really cool. It was it felt nostalgic. It was back to early 2008, 2009 rap with them, and I don't know, whenever they link up it's always a vibe.
Yeah, you're smiling really big, and you're not setting up a joke, so I know that's a genuine happiness thing.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like trash things, and in that
Speaking of trash things, Kodak Black's new stuff.
not good. I listen to a lot of
21
you
Savage?
say that I don't like rap, which I generally don't.
21.
Savage, yeah. But
21.
I will listen to when rappers are really basically all the new albums that come out. I try to listen to it all because there's usually at least one song that you can find on an album that's at least good. In the case of 21 Savage and Kodak Black, not really. But sometimes they have good beats, which it's hey, I don't care if I'm in the gym and I'm not listening to what you're saying. As long as the beat's good, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
I can respect
I couldn't find that on either one of their albums this week. So
that's fair.
But also, I can't be a judge of rap. That's not fair to anyone out there. So
It's fair for us and our listeners.
okay. Hi, Zach.
Zach. Well, outside of that, the new music release, my week was pretty good. It was pretty stressful, but it was just a lot of work, and then I'm taking care of an extra dog in my house. Yeah. So outside of that, it's pretty good. I played poorly at basketball today.
Hey.
And now I'm here. Was definitely dehydrated, and from last night's debacle.
Yeah, we drank a little bit.
Yeah, we
Not
need to
water.
Yep. We need to get our lives in order.
But I was proud of my growth because at the end of the night I started taking half shots. So I'm learning.
What was the name of that show of that black lady who saves your life? She was not on my watch. What's the name of that show?
Oh God.
What's her name?
It's cancer. I forgot. Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Not on my
we
watch.
need her to support
Save my
her
life
Yeah.
with oh God, what's her name?
Don't worry, I'll cut back and then I'll put a screenshot of her right here. You'll be like, not on my watch. And then
My favorite gif of that is, or meme or whatever, is when
I'm already laughing.
someone was when I just bought a new Rolex and I had a grinder hookup later that day. And then she goes, not on my watch. I don't know. I think it's funny.
It was funnier than with me thinking about it than your output.
I'm not a storyteller.
You're not. All right. Well, with that being said, would you like to jump into the first topic?
No.
Okay. Have a good episode.
Thanks for joining.
Hey.
Yeah.
Movie?
Yeah. You pick.
Okay. So we're gonna jump into the movie Nobody.
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 Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Nobody.
Hey, how fast does your car go from 0 to 60?
You're gonna have to catch me after I get out of the shower because I'm Keith Sweaty. Nobody. Nobody.
Transition
baby.
wasn't great.
It wasn't. I
Okay.
don't know the actual lyrics outside of him doing "Nobody" in that tone, so I can't keep the jokes going. Who the fuck knows? And we're gonna fucking find out.
feel like
0 to
it could
60.
get there fast.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty.
Like 4 or 5 seconds? Mm-hmm. Nice.
All right. Nobody, if you guys
Nobody.
would like to know, is
It's a movie.
it is a comedy John Wick. I've been saying that for the last few days, and it seemed to be going pretty well when I explain that to people. It's a man who used to be an auditor, and now he is not sure what his current job is, but he works at
like
Excel.
A bookkeeper.
Yeah,
Kinda look like it.
all we know he works in Excel in a steel company of some sort in a small town. Has wife and kids who are not happy
Hate
with
him.
and
He can never
has
remember to take out the trash.
he has a past, you guys. And when
Don't
you
we
find
all?
out what that past is, the movie gets good.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts about the movie.
I was like, everyone hates him. Understandably, he's boring and he forgets to take out the trash. And then
Okay, do you want to explain the take out the trash thing in the beginning?
no, watch it. No, he lives a mundane life,
Yeah.
and you can tell
So
he's
they did a
unhappy. in it,
montage.
right, of like every day
Monday
of the
through
week,
Friday, yeah.
and like 4 weeks in a row, he just misses taking out the trash, and then the next morning he runs out trying to take it, but the garbage truck is just driving away, and he's
So-
like, "Oh, come on, you kidding me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know it's coming on Friday. Put it out Thursday night."
I literally was talking to someone at lunch about that today. I'm like, hey, just take it out Thursday night. And he's like, yeah, that's. Are we getting old?
what
Because that's what
everyone
we're.
does, right?
Well, yeah, for the most part.
Whenever I take out my trash Thursday night, everyone else's trash is already out.
So you're the one late to the party?
Yeah, but it's still early.
Yeah,
It's
true.
before trash day.
True. This is very true. But okay. So your
The only
initial
time
thoughts.
I don't come first. Really?
Your initial thoughts, everyone hated him.
Everyone hated him, and then I was just like, okay, what's going on? And then the inciting incident is his house gets robbed in the middle of the night, and his son springs into action and puts one of the robbers like in a choker hold. And
Her hole.
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the other robber who's like pointing a gun, and he's like walking behind her. She doesn't know he's behind her, and then he ends up just not doing anything about it. And he's like, "Son,
It looked like he froze.
right." And he's like, "Son, let him go. That's the right thing to do." And then the robbers left, and you're like. And so then after that, everyone was treating him like the pussy. Like his son hated him. The cops were like, "Oh, if that were me, I would have done something."
His coworkers.
Everyone,
Everything.
Yeah, and his coworkers are his brother-in-law and father-in-law.
Of all things.
And so they're just like, "I want to know that you can protect my daughter and my grandchildren and all that." And he's like, blah blah blah. And then come to find out, he did that because he knew the girl's gun didn't have any bullets in it, because he has this crazy background with, I don't know, black ops or something like that, in the military of some sort.
He used to work for those 3-letter agencies, as he called it, as an auditor.
And he had a tattoo on his wrist of 2 cards, and some guy saw it, and he was like, "Oh no!" And he ran away.
Do you remember how many locks he clicked to close that door?
Yeah, because he's hunting down the person who had this tattoo that he saw, because he
Yes.
was like, he wanted to get his daughter's bracelet back, because they ended up stealing it when they robbed his house.
I would say this, because I watched it twice, so that's why it's kind of fresh in my memory.
Okay.
First, your initial thought was like, God, this guy's a
Sucks.
cuck. Yeah, he's
Sucks.
a cuck. Why is his wife with him? Like, kids, I get
Right.
it. And
Yeah, I
then-
even said, I was like, she's cheating on him.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
surprisingly,
cheating.
she's not.
Surprisingly,
I was like,
yeah. And then there was like that whole scene of where it kind of like it switched on him, because it was a triggering moment, that robbery, and then his daughter was like, "Where's my cat bracelet? They couldn't have took that, could they?" And you just saw him
Tense stuff.
get my cat bracelet.
Veins bulging.
Because that's the one thing with him, you don't mess with his family, and you find that out. So when you find out that the cat bracelet's
Yeah,
gone,
surprisingly, he likes them.
fucking crazy. Cat bracelet's gone. He goes, finds those people. He beats the fuck out of him very, very quickly.
He goes John Wick mode. This is the cat bracelet is killing his dog.
Yeah,
the equivalent.
That's a good comparison.
Both
cat
involve
bracelet,
domestic animals.
pretty much, and no animals were harmed in the making of this film, so that's good.
I didn't see that disclaimer because he beat the kitty up. Ow.
Cool.
It's for me, not for anyone else.
All right. So, and then he pretty much that was the turning point of the movie where he became a big badass. He ends up finding those people in one night somehow.
Very good at it.
And then he's on a bus ride home later that night where Russians get involved.
Yeah, happen to crash their SUV right next to the bus and then get on it.
Yes,
start harassing this girl that's sitting all by herself.
One, the bus driver shouldn't have stopped in any situation like that. Yeah, and there's no way. Yeah,
did you not just see them crash this car into a light post?
No? Yeah. Who does that? But that was a turning point where I knew, like, I was super, super excited to see the movie because that was one of the things that. Okay, so it was one of those things in the movie where the music in it was great. The musical cues,
some oldies,
that and how they played it to kind of convey emotion on it, and that because right when the Russians crashed, music started, and you saw it zoom in on his face. It was just like, oh my God, please!
And he
get
was
on
like,
this bus.
yeah, he was like, please do it.
Please get on this bus.
I want to kick some ass because he was trying to kick some ass earlier and he couldn't because they had a baby.
Yeah, they did.
And he's like, damn it.
So he ends up whooping everyone's ass on this bus. And
1 against 5, I think it was.
I think it was 6. Yeah.
He defied the odds.
Yeah, he definitely defied the odds. He got his ass handed to him. And I would say that's the one thing that compared this like kind of John Wick-ish. Even though John Wick was probably like a super he got hurt, but he was still able to move like he was not hurt.
Yeah, he got stabbed like 4 times in this one fight.
Yeah, and like on this side of things, and nobody, when he got hurt, you saw him was like, I'm gonna slowly get up and kill you.
Yeah,
like he didn't flench. He just looked angry and aggressive, and all the Russians were just scary. Oh yeah, and the one black guy, that was definitely not a Russian. The first black guy was definitely not a Russian. Yeah. And then that's I get it. It's the turning point, and then you get the whole backstory of all the Russians and the Obshak, and then I'm just like,
yeah. So one of the people he ends up, So the last person he defeats on the bus, he takes one of the like railings that you hold on to on the bus when like it's moving and you're standing, and he like takes it off and he hits him right in the throat. And then he's like dying on the ground. So then he cuts open his trachea or whatever. Yeah. And sticks a straw in there so he can breathe. And then that ends up being like the Russia mob boss's brother or son. And then that boss is basically on a vendetta to get back to him. God. And he's just like, nah, I'm gonna beat you all at your own game.
And it was so good. It was corny.
It was corny as hell, but good. It was funny.
So
if you like stupid action,
yes,
you'll enjoy it.
I mean, we gave you a little bit of spoilers, and I'm going to give you a little bit more. But you guys should definitely go see it. Once the mob boss knows who this man is, he sends people to his house.
Yep.
And you realize that's a triggering moment for a madman.
It's his family.
Yeah, he kills waves of people in his house on lasagna night.
Homemade lasagna night, too.
That looked good.
He was like, I'm going to make the noodles from scratch.
You know how
I'm like, they don't love you, right? I don't.
Will this lasagna make you love me?
Will you take out the trash, bitch? Like, I don't give a fuck about your lasagna.
You'll start drinking on my coffee, bitch?
Like, let's go out because then we won't fill up the trash. And if you forget, it won't matter.
Hey. I think that house scene was my favorite scene.
That was fun.
It was my favorite scene. We didn't even talk about his dad. Back to the
Old
Future.
Man Phil.
Yeah. Back to the Future guy. He was great.
Big ass ears.
Big ass ears. I feel like it was really well done. I want to be a part 2, but I don't think there will be a part 2 unless they want to play out that last scene somehow.
Did the house have a basement?
It did. Maybe or not. We'll find out.
What if it doesn't, but it has an attic? Maybe they could do an attic scene.
Maybe if they have a cupboard, and then you can figure out if the Indian was in the cupboard.
It's insensitive.
It's a movie.
Yeah. I think it's been canceled. I don't know. I really don't know. Wouldn't surprise me.
All right. So what would you rate the movie?
I'd give it like an 8.
An
I
8?
enjoyed it.
No?
It was quick. What I liked was like you got like maybe 25 minutes of backstory at the beginning, and then they're like, okay, action for the rest of it.
All right.
So if you like action movies, you'll enjoy it.
Definitely. I'll give it probably about 8 as well. So next topic.
Yeah.
Speaking of unnecessary backstory, Jupiter's Legacy.
I disagree. But go ahead.
A new Netflix series,
Yep.
Jupiter's Legacy. It did drop last week by the time this comes out. 8 episodes?
Yep.
8 episodes. Probably roughly about an hour long each episode. It goes through a Justice League type superhero group, and they go through what it's like to be said group.
Yeah.
Tell me how you feel about it. How do you feel about the series, or your first initial thoughts of it?
I enjoyed it. I like superhero stuff.
Okay.
So I'll always, I say that like 3 episodes ago I wasn't trashing on. I like superhero stuff that isn't a 4-hour long movie. Let's put it that way.
But when it's 8 hours in total as a series, that's perfect for me.
Because they're broken up in 8 episodes. Let's see. I enjoyed it. I liked I know there's a lot of criticism over people not enjoying the backstory of it. So it flips between current day of, the superheroes that exist and a lot of their off-kin, right? Like their sons and daughters who also have powers, and they are fighting this, they're fighting in the current day. And then it also goes back to the original superhero group, and how they ended up getting their powers. And I think the major criticism of the show was they focused a little too much on the backstory of it all, and they flashed back too much.
I think that's the problem. It's the flashbacks.
That's why I just said the major criticism people had.
I think the main... I know, but I wanted to say it in my words.
Okay, then go ahead.
Don't sip like that into the mic. My points are valid.
Go ahead.
So no,
Go ahead.
I will. I'd agree. I definitely enjoyed it. There is some things where, like, it being in this day and age, that there's kind of some things that are like different visual wise. But I understand budgets and the things that they have to do. Character wise, I was kind of annoyed. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I was always left unsatisfied in most scenes, or at least with the character development. And as we finished it, we realized there's a lot of holes that they weren't really plugged in, as if they were trying to make a season 2, or even with some of the backstory, even more holes. So, like, for example, skipping slightly ahead, there were 6 of them, right? There is 5 of them throughout the show, and then you find the 6th one, the last 2 episodes.
Right.
You find out that somehow he's connected to all of this, and his superpower, his baton, is being used in like episode 4 or 5, and it's not really fully explained why that is. And I'm like, there's just something else more. And then also the black guy, who's now in a wheelchair, wasn't in a wheelchair before, and he had a nasty fade because he got burned right here. Did they ever explain that? I don't think they did.
So you want them to just hand you everything on a platter?
I would like things explained.
Everything.
Yeah, in one season, if you want to portray your backstory and then kind of wrap it up, yeah.
But I don't think they're going for one season of the show.
They're gonna get one season at this rate. If Wu Assassin's got two, they're gonna get two. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But I just felt wanting a little bit more. I do have problems with the constant flashbacks. I honestly think they should have did like, this is a flashback episode, this is a real life episode, this is a flashback episode, this is a real life episode. Because it's not like one of those shows where they flash back to something currently, like the stories would be kind of similar or kind of wrapping together on what's going on in the meantime. Like, oh, they're flashing back then because that was a robbery and this is a robbery going on now, and they're showing the similarities type of thing. They didn't do that. They were just like, this is a good time to fuck everyone up. Let's go back a little bit.
Fair.
So that's my only gripe, and that's me not joking, not trying to be like this is bad, but that's potentially my only gripe.
Yeah, I think people that find that as a criticism, it's a fair criticism.
Wow, fair. You said something unfair.
I said
that's
that
the first time. I know.
I said people that the main criticism. Jesus.
Criminism?
The main criticism that people have with the show is this, and I was like, and I think that it's fair.
Oh, that's fair. But that's the first time.
For me, I didn't care.
That's the first thing you've ever like kind of agreed with me on.
Maybe on camera.
That's fair.
But yeah, I see your point. I can see how it not being like cohesive between the flashbacks and the present day. Like they didn't find a way to really connect it. But for me, like I thought that I liked the backstory. I liked the length of time that they took explaining the backstory, which I know some people didn't. And then I also like the present day story. My main criticism was more on like the visual effects stuff. I thought that was kind of... It always surprises me when you decide to do a superhero movie or any sort of show where people have superpowers or there's this sort of thing and you don't budget for that.
Yeah.
Like there's, for example, like when they were in the club and they were using their powers in there, I thought that was well done. It didn't look corny, in my opinion. But like in the first episode when they were doing the fight with Black Star, I remember particularly when his son, Hutch, I think his name was, is like flying in like to the group. You could like almost see the wires that they had on him. Like it looked like he was just hovering there with like a suspense system. And that was corny in my opinion. But then it got better, like when they did the fight scene in the mind at the end. I didn't think it was as corny. There was one part, like the flying particularly was bad, because there was a part where Shadow Fox is like chasing after Lady Liberty, and he's like flying slowly behind her, and it just looked like they were like laying down on like a fucking treadmill that was like covered in green, so you couldn't see it. But they were just like,
here's my thing, and I agree 1,000%. I think what it is those are very unnatural movements, and they're trying to capture it like very superhero-esquely, right? And they did not a good job.
It's almost like when they tried to do like all the underwater stuff in Aquaman, and it was just like, this looks like it doesn't look natural.
It doesn't look
like
natural.
This isn't how you move in water.
There's another scene that I'm trying to put it together in my head, because I know they have some sort of super speed and they are able to move fast. As Sheldon, what's his superhero power? It's Ocula.
Oh no, he is
Obsidian Man.
Utopian.
Utopian. I was and it's a U. There was one scene, and I think it's towards the end, where I'm like, he literally did it a scene before. He moves super fast, and then you just see him walking and doing things. I'm like, why don't you do that or
Super
fly? You have the ability to do. There's time is of the essence, brother, and you're not using your power. I would have to say, like, things like that. It's just like, you have these abilities. Go use said abilities. Yeah. So it's just the little things like that for me.
Yeah.
Kind of totally throw it off. And with the story jumping around, yeah, I just need some stuff to be wrapped up.
Sure.
And I make more sense, and then I'd be good. At a super high level story, I enjoyed. I know that it's nowhere close to the comics, which Keith is currently reading.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to read the comics because you're talking about, oh, this is just sex. It's just gay sex in the beginning, and that's all it is.
First 2 chapters.
I'm like, what? Yeah. That's not in the Netflix thing at all. So I'm like, okay, all right. Now I kind of want to read, and it's just I want to see the complete difference, and then I want to see what potentially might come in season 2 or whatever else.
Yeah, that's what, like, originally when I watched it, I was just like, okay, knowing that it is a comic book series, like, I definitely want to read the comics because I believe, like, the story, the general idea of the story is good, in my opinion. Like, that's one thing that I like about, like, Batman and Spider-Man is, like, they have, like, you know, this code of honor where it's like, okay, I'm not going to kill the person that's basically just trying to, like, destroy the city.
Spider-Man
like,
is it?
They don't try to kill. Like, if they can
Fair.
get someone and arrest them and go through the law process, like, that's what they want to do, right? They have, like, a code of honor. And the overall story of this, you have your original superheroes that live by that same code of honor where we shouldn't kill anyone. They have to go through due process and all of that. And now you have this new generation of superheroes that are like, yeah, it's not so black and white.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely a gray area. And then seeing how that is tearing this superhero family apart.
God.
Like, I really like that story. Like, it adds a family element to superheroes, and you see, like, just normal family drama, but on a superhero level that I find compelling. And so, yeah, I think it'll be cool to read and see kind of where they go with it in the comics.
Speaking of that, I'm just adding to it. When you're talking about the code and they're bringing it up, it's like, hey, it's not working right now. And the one comeback is such an old parent comeback.
Yeah.
That's why we need it the most right now.
Right.
Shut up. That doesn't make sense, man.
Right.
You know that doesn't make sense. But it does. Wait, what? No, we're dying.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And it even gets to the point where it's like he has to choose between the code and his son at the
Spoiler.
in a battle. And I'm not going to ruin it at that point, but it's like it gets to that level.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what are you going to do in that situation? Like, are you going to live by this code, or are you going to save your son who you supposedly love?
all right. So without doing spoilers, what would you say your favorite scene was in that whole thing, or what stands out to you when you first hear? Is it one of the scenes of the daughter?
Yeah, I liked the daughter a lot. I thought she was a cool character. She's kind of like, I don't give a fuck kind of badass sort of chick. I liked.
She's hurt.
Yeah, she really is. And there's like a whole, thing of unsolved trauma that children deal with, their parents. And I thought the show captured that well. I liked her scene where she's just like fucked up on cocaine or whatever, and she goes to the fashion shoot, and she just like, they're like, oh, we want the car shot where she like lifts up a car, and she just lifts it up and then chucks it at the chick because she's like pissed off at her. But I think honestly for me, I liked the backstory a lot. I liked all of that. So like I liked his little his journey, like with his dad, like, coming back with, in his mind and like leading them to the island to find the powers. But like, I guess we said we weren't doing spoilers. Sorry.
Spoilers.
Well, I mean, if you haven't seen it and I say that, you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? But yeah, I liked the back scenes. I don't know. I think any scene, honestly, with the family, like all together, like the dinner table scenes and stuff like that, I thought that those kind of stood out to me too. I don't know. I think generally I never really found a point in the show where I was like, I don't really like what's going on here.
Fair.
For me. But I'm sure, flashbacks for you were a low point. How about you? What did you enjoy?
So my favorite part was when, because I can say this scene without spoiling anything because it doesn't really add up to anything at the end of it, is when Utopian was at his therapy appointment. And he has an appointment with a therapist, and I knew it was kind of funky because the therapist was going over basic questions, and they were talking about the code, and it was like, you like to not kill your enemies, even though most of your enemies are trying to kill you. And then Utopian's response is like, yeah, you know that. And he was just like, I'm doing. And they keep going through all the therapy appointment, and he has some hard-hitting questions. And towards the end, the therapist kind of became less professional. And then I'm like, okay, I get it. And then you hear the sounds of like a jail cell behind him. Right. And he was like, all right, this is the end of this. And he was like, well, if you need me, you know where to find me. And then you cut to the wall, you see a cutout of the therapist who's like, Utopian catches killer, been after him for 30 years. And it's the goddamn therapist. And they're like, you go to therapy with someone who's trying to kill you? What? Hands down my favorite scene, because it didn't make any sense at all. It doesn't add anything, and it doesn't take anything away. But I completely enjoyed it. I would have to say my low point is during the flashbacks when they believed a crazy man to go to the middle of nowhere. Everybody. Yeah. That was probably my low point.
I mean, he had some concrete evidence. When
it started adding up, then I would have been like, kill him.
We're going to the island, but get him off his boat.
Hey, let's get this going. But no, overall I liked it. But of course I have my small grabs. But yeah.
So assuming there's going to be a second season, the backstory that we encountered in the first season was really more about how the original Union got their powers. Assuming we're still going to get flashbacks in the second season, and I'm assuming your main critique for the second season would be do it better. But what would you like to see of the flashbacks in the second season? Granted, who knows what the villain...
That makes sense. That's what I want
to do. I get that, but like, are you looking forward to like... Are you wanting to see like the Union's like first like fights with like old school villains, or what are you looking for?
Spoiler, we know that the Union ends up breaking up.
Right.
Want to know why, right? We want to know why, and why Gray Fox ended up turning, and why we know that Walter, or whatever his name is, turned on him. I would like to know that. I would like to know the build-up. I would like to know why Walter was smashing Asian girls to get an Asian mind-reading daughter. I want to know how that came to be. And George, smashing some sort of brown person to get this brown kid who has a stick of the other man. And I'm like, there's trifectas here not adding up. You know what I mean? They kept introducing... They kept introducing branches and not having any leaves on them. And then that's the one thing, if we add this up, good. Because at the end... when you realize the island gave them powers, right? You saw that wave go out and hit everyone on the boat, and you're like, oh, that must be why there's other kids with powers now. They don't explain that.
Well, you figured it out.
Of course I figured it out.
Good job, Hal!
But you would think that would be kind of touched with like, okay, so there's a Union now. How do you know you have powers? How do you join them? How do you know that they're not?
Well, they kind of go through that in the current state. In the current days, there's tryouts and people take exams and all of that. They kind of cover it, but they don't. They don't specifically state it.
Yeah, they need to.
For you,
yes,
because
it needs to make sense. Okay. But yeah, that's what I would like. All right, so what would you give Jupiter's Legacy?
For me, I liked it 8.5 out of 10.
6.
Wow.
I give it a 6. It needed a little bit more. Just needed a little bit more. It's too many branches. Not enough fruit on said branches. I need to be fed.
Okay.
Because I'm fat. Feed me my answers.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. All right. Next topic.
Yeah.
Next topic.
The Nevers. Got 2 episodes.
American Gods season finale.
No. We're mad at that show.
We are mad at that show. As soon as I get rid of the black guy, you stop airing the show. American Gods. Jesus. A Nazi. The spider god of Africa. Okay. The Nevers. It's okay now. I fixed it.
Mm-hmm. 2 episodes to cover. I think episode 5, episode 6. Episode 7 comes out tonight.
No, it's Cuatro Cinco.
Okay, whatever.
Cuatro Cinco. 45. 4 and 5.
Really doesn't matter.
Episode 4, as we recapped a little bit earlier, and not on camera, it was when Melody got caught. True. I'm blanking. Melody got caught, and she goes through the due process with that gentleman. And then what happens with True and the other lady in episode 4?
Well, the big thing was all the people in the orphanage were trying to put together Mary's message in the song.
Yeah, because she got splatted.
So the girl that can understand all the languages but can't speak English, she could understand it all, and so they were just basically she would just speak, and then all the people that knew different languages could take out pieces of what she was saying so they could put something together, and it ultimately ended up being a message for True.
Yes, and then also what happened is they uncovered a plot. Well, she had a flashback early in the episode and realized she was going to go talk to a politician. And the politician got character, which his name I can't remember. And
Sir Douchebag.
Sir Douchebag. And when she gets there, she went through a hypothetical situation, a.k.a. set him up to see if you were the one who killed
Mary.
And he basically admitted to everything, but he did it in a very cocky, you can't do anything type way.
Right.
And so then the plan was, after that, to go and bomb his shit.
Yeah.
No, blow up his bombs. I'm so sorry. Blow up his bombs. And
things go kaboom.
Things go kaboom. And they devise a plan. They have... Who's all in the group that went over there to go do it?
What do you mean?
So when they devised the plan to go do it, it was True? No, it wasn't True.
To go to his factory?
Yes, his factory. I apologize. Yeah. It was True, the second in command.
Adair. But she didn't go.
But her contraption that did the smoke did.
Yes.
And so there's a small group of people, ultimately. They get to the factory, and then the second in command that wasn't Adair was basically like, okay, let's set the bombs and let's go. And then True was like, nope, let's open this to make sure, because there was no guards here guarding this. This is very easy. And she's like, nope, I'm pretty sure this is the information I got. And then she opened up a box, and it was just rocks, because it was a setup. It was a setup to bomb the whole place. They figured out they had a rat, and they pinpointed the rat. And it was one of the touched, second in command. It was the lady who can touch and shatter bones by just touching.
Oh, yeah. The one that killed her kid.
Baby by, and then she told the story. It was like, didn't die right away. He was dead with all his bones shattered in my hands. I'm like, I wouldn't be alive after that.
Yeah, that's rough.
I would have left the earth with my child.
That's rough.
So, yeah. That was pretty much that episode, right?
I think so.
And then it just keeps ramping up to great things. And then the 5th episode, Hangman, the game.
Yeah, so they have Malady captured as of last episode, and
Yes.
she is going to be have a public execution.
She's going to be hung.
And hung. William hung.
American Idol song singing.
And they wanted to. They've outlawed public executions, but they brought it back because they basically want to make an example of the touched, and let them know what will happen if they step out of line. And then this doesn't sit well with Adair, and she's supposed to. In the previous episode, they actually decipher Mary's message. They tell True what it is.
Yes.
And it's basically telling her, hey, there's a thing underground that
She just bust out crying.
has all this. This is the source of the power and all that sort of stuff, and you should go down there, whatever. Meanwhile, Wheelchair Lady is down there with mad scientist, and they're trying to take it and move it out of the city. So True wants to take a team and use Adair's machine to drill down to find, the source of all their power. And everyone's on board until the whole public execution thing comes around, and then Adair is like, nah, I think we should save Malady. And so her and True are kind of butting heads for the first time. So then they end up splitting, making people choose sides.
Pretty much.
There's a team that goes with the drill to go and try to take this thing that's underground, and then there's a team that is going off to save Malady from being publicly hanged. But nothing is ever as simple as
But before
it's
we go
originally
into that
planned.
scene, we got to talk about the reporter coming into the fray.
Okay.
The reporter comes into the fray. She goes to the police station. Let's say
think so.
report station. The police station to talk to the head detective. And she basically was trying to get an interview with Malady. And she was being very... she's being very coy with her questions to try to get the detective to say something. And you figure out why at the end. And she was basically giving him clues to the situation, who she ends up being, and everything. And I'm like, this doesn't really make sense at first, but I was like all for it.
It was a very like Catwoman esque
Yes.
situation
Yes.
of like just being like flirtatious and trying to use your womanly powers to overwhelm a man.
Yeah.
Let alone, but he's gay, so
I mean,
joke's on you.
half gay. Nah, he be smashing. He's definitely in that smash. So that's an important factor before we jump into that. And then we know that there's two stories happening once those teams split up. And I was about to call them an orphanage. What do you call them?
I think it is an orphanage.
Okay.
I think that's what they call it.
So we have two teams, and then we start following Adair's story. And Adair's story is following the hanging, obviously with the name of the episode. And everything. Oh no, we also have to talk about the politician making a deal with the Beggar King right before to come and cause chaos.
Yeah.
And they didn't go into what level of chaos. Just like
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you.
That's your realm.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna pay you.
Yeah. And it was just like, there's so many things going on. What's really going to happen?
So his whole thing, he obviously had a daughter that got touched, right? And he's
Politician.
Yeah, and he's pissed off about that. So he hates the touched. He hates change. He hates anything new. And
It's like an old white man.
the whole, I'm gonna blow up my facility. It's all, everything that he's doing is basically reaming up to, I want everyone to hate the touched, and to basically, I'm assuming like either like capture them and hold them captive, or some sort of mass killing of them.
He wants to cure them. That's what they
by
want to say.
killing them. Yeah. It's a touched cleansing. Is basically what he's trying to do here.
Swap out touch from ethnic.
Yeah. So in this episode, we don't follow True and what her little mission entailed. We follow Adair and her team as they try to save Malady. They come up with, a plan to do so, and of course, plans don't go as you planned them.
As the quest outlined them in the beginning.
And there was electricity involved.
Yes.
There was death of so many people.
You find out Malady's not Malady.
No.
And you find that out because she gets hung, and then there's immediate chain reaction of things. She gets hung. There is people who then get electrocuted because Adair's in the crowd. The police officer spots Adair. He walks over to her, and immediately that sets off her plan of, oh, hello. Thing shoots in the air. People go. She throws the metal, whatever, and then as one of the touch get to the stage, Malady kills herself. You see her be like, nope, I need to die.
She kicks the trap mechanism and she falls,
and then Adair's like, oh, she didn't want to be saved, and then they're like, oh no, there's something else going on,
right?
And then you see like all of these metal currents, where are they going? And there you see all these people touching metal, they're touching each other, and they're like, oh no. And then people get shocked. And then it was just, everyone watching her die gets killed. Malady's crazy. That was her one last thing,
Yeah, she was pissed off at everyone that wanted to come and watch her die, so she's like, haha, I got the last laugh. I'm not dead and you all are.
And then as the body was getting taken away, like a scene or two later, you see her boot fall off. And that boot fall off, this is where I kind of don't remember. She was missing toes.
Right.
And that missing toe was to someone else.
Yeah, one of her fanatic followers.
Yes.
Who ended up removing toes from herself because she thought that that's how, like, you get powers. I think it was, like, in the second or third episode.
Okay.
She was, like, in the underground area with Malady and all of them, and she was trying to be like Malady, and so she'd chop off her toes in order to achieve that.
That triggered a flashback, a good flashback. That's how you do flashbacks. And a good flashback for the cop. And then he was able to start putting two to two together and then realize the stuff that the reporter was saying was all adding up to the reporter being Malady. And then Malady goes, she saved the Indian girl.
She did.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's nice of the reporter.
Because she realized that they're trying to save her.
Yeah, so she did something nice. She said they saved that. And then she pulled off her wig, and then she dirtied her teeth again. And I'm like, wow, that was the worst part. And then she started manically laughing.
She's like,
in
gingivitis, cavities.
And then the episode ended, and then was like,
she had her little like Joker moment,
yes,
where she got to take off her costume and be her true self, and everything behind her is, going in chaos down the street, and she's just kind of like walking around laughing at everything going on.
I honestly, I thought the Nevers was trying to pull like a Game of Thrones thing. They're like, oh, we're just gonna start killing off kind of main characters and see what you mean. Like Mary, gone. Malady, soon to be gone. Who knows? Who knows who's going to be next? Yeah, right?
Not Wheelchair Lady. The only, like, I thought it was a little obvious they made it.
Because they stopped bringing up Malady in interviews with
That's why
Malady.
I was like, I wish they would have had her as a character, like, almost in episode 1. as the reporter.
Yeah.
And just trying, like, casually having her, because she was just randomly introduced in, like, episode 4. So
They don't like women in power with any sort of knowledge.
So I think if she would have just been, like, trying to get a story maybe in, like, episode 1, 2, and 3 and just, like, randomly showing up here and there, and then they led up to us, it might not have been as obvious that it was her, or it would have came as more of, like, a shock versus, like, oh yeah, Malady goes away and now this reporter is here. But I think it was still a nice
to be
surprise.
fair, I couldn't physically tell that was her.
No.
Because of her being disgusting before.
Right. But you figured something was like, there's something here.
And now she's being blonde with blue eyes, and I'm like, perfect, my type. So thank you. Bring that back to the
You like
table.
redhead.
I like everything. All right. But overall, I'm excited. This is like one of the things is like there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of things that are kind of slow in it. But I'm intrigued.
But every episode has a good action or
Yeah.
surprise or something going along.
I mean, it started off with True and the Doctor smashing. So, I mean, it starts off pretty strong. And then she started sucking his fingers. I'm like, all right, yo, what is going on here? Yeah, it's a good show. I like it.
Yeah.
HBO's not doing bad right now.
No, they are not.
They need to bring back Veep season 8.
Oh, Veep. Such a classic.
Okay, all right. Do we got anything else to talk about?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, if that's the case, you guys have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We will hopefully have another episode next week.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.